Just a few general accounting questions. If a company that you're rating has a commodity account, like say ExxonMobil or Tyson Foods, is the value of the cash or treasury bills in the segregated customer account assumed to have full value? Yes or no, each of you, please.
Yes.
Yes? Only one of you has an opinion?
Yes, sir. I don't know the answer to that.
I'm sorry?
I don't know the answer to that.
Okay, so we have a don't know from Mr. Parmalee, a yes from Mr. Cantor.
I believe the answer is yes, but fortunately our system takes care of that, and I don't need to have the...
Okay, so we got a don't know, a yes, and a believe it's yes. Assets in a balance sheet can appreciate or fall in value, be sold or be transferred. Do we all agree?
Yes, sir.
Let the record show you all agree. Potentially they could also be stolen. Do we all agree?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Okay, let the record show they all agree. Has any of you ever heard of them being, quote, vaporized, close quote?
No, sir.
No.
No. Okay, let the record show they all said no. How would you treat assets on a balance sheet if those assets had been stolen? Or, just to save time, is it correct to assume that they wouldn't be counted because they would eventually need to be returned to their rightful owners? Do you agree with that statement?
Sir, I'm not sure I've ever faced that experience.
I think stolen assets I would put on the balance sheet as zero, but there might be a contingent potential of recovery.
Okay.
We as well have never faced anything like that, but we would probably handle it very similarly.
So Mr. Cantor and Mr. Gellert agree. Mr. Parmalee, you don't know?
That's right, sir.
I'm sorry?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir, what? You don't know, or you do it like they would?
No, I don't know, sir.
Okay. In your dealings with MF Global, was Lori Ferber involved in your work? Yes or no?
No, sir.
I'm not aware.
And you didn't have any
We had
dealings with
none.
MF Global, so, okay. So all said no. She's considered to be an expert on legal issues related to commodity and derivatives trading. Would you agree, Mr. Parmalee?
I don't know about Lori Ferber's background.
You don't know who she is?
I don't know specifically about her background and her expertise. I can't speak to that.
Okay, so somebody in her position potentially you feel then could have no expertise in those areas.
I would assume that they would.
Okay. Mr. Cantor?
I really don't know anything about her.
You know who she is?
No, I don't.
Okay. Mr. Gillert?
Again, we have no contact with them.
Okay. So let the record show nobody knows nothing. I guess this would be Mr. Cantor, in rating MF Global, you assume that they would conduct their business in accordance with all the laws and regulations, and not that they would loot their customers' segregated accounts for their own benefit. Is that a correct assumption?
That's correct.
Okay. Did you assume that the CFTC and the CME were fulfilling their responsibilities to audit and verify the proper protection of those assets?
That's correct.
Would you all have done the same?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Did you confirm with MF's auditors, PricewaterhouseCoopers, that they had verified that controls and systems were in place to prevent theft, fraud, and unauthorized transfers?
No, sir, we did not speak directly to the auditors, but typically we wouldn't expect that an auditor would be able to share information with us as a third party. They would have a confidential relationship with their client.
Okay.
We didn't speak directly. We did recognize that they had signed their opinion to the audited opinion, so that we did review.
Fair enough.
Again, we have no contact with advisors, auditors, or bankers.
I assume you relied on SEC filings to complete your work. Are you aware that some of the 2011 filings may have been backdated and otherwise adulterated?
We did rely on the SEC filings. When you say backdated and unadulterated, I'm not aware, so more detail.
Yeah, I said may have been.
I have the same answer.
Okay.
I have no awareness of that.
Okay. And just following up on Mr. Capano's comment, in Moody's letter to Congress, it stated that they did not learn about MF's large RTM trades until October 21st. And I'm just wondering, you know, like everyone else, just how that's possible.
Again, we were aware of the disclosures in the 10K, and we had read through the 10K, so we were aware of their positions as reported. What we became aware of on the 21st was the motivations for the positions and how they were being managed. And at that point in time, that description of that type of activity changed our view on the firm's risk appetite, which, along with the two other measures that we were tracking, earnings and leverage, led us to take the action we had intended to take if we saw that weakening performance along those metrics.
So could anybody come close to properly assuming that just perhaps it was an oversight?
I don't understand what you're saying. We had talked about in all our publications of taking a multi-quarter approach to evaluating along these dimensions, and upon executing along that plan, we took the action that we had intended to.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.